Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming back my good friend Reba Sparrow, producer and performer of the Mystery Box up in Oregon. I'm having her back on the show today. Have a conversation about sex again, masturbation. The Mystery Box has been doing a lot of virtual shows since quarantine started. I want to talk to her about that. And yeah, just basically take it from there. Reba is a lot of fun. She's got a lot of great stories, and she's a very good speaker. And I just love the way she talks. I mean, she's got a lovely voice and lovely articulation, and I just adore Reba, and I'm glad I'm going to be having her back on the show today to talk about all that stuff. So yeah, here is my new interview with Reba Sparrow. What's up, Reba?
Hey, how's it going? Good to talk to you.
Yes, welcome back. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Yeah, so how you holding up in this clusterfuck?
With all sensitivity to everyone whose health and finances and everything is being compromised right now, and I definitely don't like the pandemic. I kind of love quarantine. It's good.
Yeah.
A lot of, getting back to the things that are really important and not having obligations outside of the house is actually really nice. It's kind of working for me. How are you holding up?
Well, I have a little bit of a cold, which I'm going to go to the immediate care clinic later on and find out what it is. I don't think I have COVID, but I do think I have something.
Yeah, lots of that's been going around too. Allergies and just colds and, change of season stuff.
It's a weird, confusing time, I think.
Yeah.
That's
putting it mildly, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think the whole pandemic thing has been good for us in that, it's made us a lot more humble because since 9/11 happened, everyone just turned greedy and mean-spirited and just full of themselves. And I think this thing has just made people come together.
Yeah, I think that's true. And, a lot of, I know at the beginning of this, a lot of people were seeing hoarding mentality and a lot of worry that people were just going to get selfish and, turn against each other. And I think the opposite has really happened, which is nice to see and feel.
Yeah, I just don't get these people, though, that are just going out in public without masks. I mean, when something happens like this, you're always going to have a huge group of people that don't agree, but this is just insane. This is, our lives that we're dealing with here.
Yeah, I mean, some folks are taking it less seriously for sure. And, I think there's a lot of entitlement still going around too.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I guess we'll see what happens, with, I don't know, all the states that are opening back up right now. I know Georgia and Texas were opening up quite a bit, and I heard, I think, you're in California, right?
Yes.
Yes, and is that true? Did I read that some parts of California are opening back up too?
Some parts are, yeah, and they said, I think by this weekend or something like that, even more, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Right. So I guess we'll see what happens, right? It feels like, I feel like the state's hands are tied between yeah, we are taking this seriously, but we're also taking, the people's financial well-being, the business's financial well-being seriously. But it kind of feels like, okay, but if you're doing that, you're not taking our health seriously. And I kind of wonder what's going to happen when people do start going back out again. Is there going to be a quick, oh, never mind. The curve is no longer flat and we need to re-quarantine. I guess we'll find out, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, everyone back in the day thought that AIDS and smallpox were scary, but this.
Right. For sure. A lot more contagious.
It's a lot more contagious, yeah. So May is International Masturbation Month, and
that's right.
yeah, and I remember you telling me last time that you're not a big masturbator, but I was curious. Do you have like any old masturbation stories?
It's funny you should ask that. Actually, I do have an old story, but I'm hesitant to share it with you now just because I'm telling it at our next live stream on May 16th, as it so happens. I'm impressed that you know it's Masturbation Month. I thought only people in my industry knew about this, but it's worldwide, huh?
Oh, I've been celebrating it for years, and back in May of 2018, I had the the YouTube sex educator Amber Leitz come on and talk about it. That was my first ever sex show that I did.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I will tell you. I'll tell you little snippets, I suppose. Just for no spoilers. Is that I mean, from a really young age. Probably around 4 or 5 years old. And then when I discovered masturbation, I don't know if I hear that that's young for some people, but I also hear that's normal for some people. And I discovered that with like toys and stuffed animals in my bedroom. And then that eventually correlated with, I use pervertibles, so to speak, perverting household objects.
Right.
So that there are actual sex toys for this, that adults have vibrators and dildos. Only when I had learned about vibrators and dildos, it was always coupled with the idea that that was wrong and shameful, that people who used sex toys were only people who couldn't get laid, essentially.
Yeah.
The idea was, why would you do that if you had a person, And so that also enforced the idea that, well, if it was wrong and shameful because you couldn't get laid, that meant you weren't desirable, you weren't attractive, all these things. So that formed my opinion about sex toys, and I thought they were awful and horrible for almost all of my young adulthood. So the story is really about I have an experience with a person who was just crazy about sex toys, and I was like, oh, cool. So you like my personality, but you hate my body, and you don't want to touch it with your body, just with toys. It was kind of that experience. I know this is shying away from masturbation, but masturbation is sort of the catalyst for this story. And then having sort of an aha moment where I acknowledged that, he's really into this with the sex toys, and it's about him watching me in pleasure, which is really, really positive and awesome, and it's not what I thought it was at all. So now I have tons and tons of sex toys, and I do use them for masturbation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would say that I'm not a big masturbator. I don't feel any negativity towards it.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose it's just that I don't know. I'm real busy.
Yeah. But
yeah. So I know that was just a big summary and not an actual story, but a teaser maybe.
But do you primarily use toys when you do it?
Yeah, because it's quick and easy, and I'm a girl on the go. I've been quarantined on the go.
Yeah, I mean, being bisexual, I have to use a dildo or a vibrator sometimes. I always need a friend down south, and that's the only time I ever really use toys. It's been quite a while, though. But how about the first time you masturbated? Was it a good experience?
You know what? I honestly can't remember. I'm sure it was a good experience, but I don't remember the first time. Like I said, I was really young. I just, I mean, when I was that young, like, I think I moved to Germany when I was 4 years old, and that's a very sex inclusive, sex positive, sex is everywhere. So I was really young, and I don't remember. I do remember doing it, though, and I do remember that it felt good, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. There was no initial shame or taboo associated with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you sweat an awful lot after you're done?
Do I sweat? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Is that a thing? I don't get super worked up, I guess. Especially if there's a toy. There's not, something else is doing the work for me.
Yeah, well, I know some women that do.
You mean like a chemical reaction or like a physiological reaction?
Yeah,
Oh, mm-hmm.
they get very flustered afterwards, but it's very rare.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard this before.
Yeah. But my first time, oh my God. So like on 4th of July when I was 12 years old, my uncle brought his girlfriend over, and she brought her daughter who was 21 years old, and God, she was gorgeous. And she had the prettiest feet I had ever seen on a girl up to that point. And a few days later, I'm in my room thinking about him, and I get a hard on, and like I start humping the bed just to like try to get rid of it, because I was just like it wouldn't go away, And I had gotten many of these, since I was 3 years old. But like I made a decision at 12 I was going to finally do something to get rid of it, and I just humped the bed, and then I came, and I was like, that was fun. I think I'm going to do that more often. And then I go back to the school, and I tell some of the boys, and they said, dude, you masturbated. And I was like, I thought you had to use your hand for that. And he's like, no, you can do anything pretty much, just as long as, your penis gets stimulated. And I was just like, wow, and then it was maybe about a year before I just started using the hand. I was just humping the bed, and then eventually I broke my bed.
Yeah. Well, I think you answered a question I had, but maybe there's more to it. My question was, did you know what you were doing? Like, how did you know that would get rid of it?
I was making it up as I went along. Because all it started with was just me just grinding into the bed, hoping that it would just go away somehow. And there was just a pleasurable stimulation going on during it that just made me just keep going,
Gotcha. So you thought maybe like the grinding would like suppress it?
Yes.
Push it down?
Yeah, I thought something was going to happen, And so I just kept doing it. Yeah. And, from there on, I was doing it, several times a day, and I've continued to. I mean, even in my 20s and early 30s before my accident, when I was sexually active, I mean, I would squeeze in time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for your health.
It is, and I don't necessarily think of the stereotype that if you do it too much, you lose your hair. But my hairline's been receding for a decade now.
No, I'd say it actually stimulates hair growth, gets your blood flowing. It's a natural stress reliever, releases oxytocin, all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, some of my best masturbation stories, though, have happened in the last 5 years since I've gotten out of the hospital for my accident. About a month after I had gotten out, a friend of mine came to visit me, and we've been friends since high school, and we have that kind of relationship where we can be naked in front of each other, or we can play with ourselves in front of each other, and it's not weird. And she came over, and I was watching Modern Family, and I was playing with myself to Sofia Vergara, and she sat down and she was like, you know what? I would fuck Sofia Vergara. And that just amplified my orgasm by a million.
Yeah. Just her saying those words next to you, she wasn't even.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And I know her body so well. She's got this, oh God, this hot beauty mark on her back, and that was part of the image too. And next thing you know, there's a big old spot of my semen on her knee. And she was like, "You asshole." And I was like, "You did this."
Wow, good friend.
Yeah, very good friend. I wish I had more like that. And then about a year later, there was this one time where I was hanging out with my friend's mother. I hadn't seen her since before my accident. I wanted to see her one more time because I was getting ready to move out of the Bay Area. And we spent like this whole day together at her house. And we started rubbing each other's feet and tickling each other's feet. And it led to us making out. And she said to me, she says, I want to go to bed with you, but I'm going through this breakup. I just can't bring myself into doing it, but I don't want that hard-on to go to waste. So I want you to go upstairs and masturbate in my bed. And she gave me a box of Kleenex and a bottle of water-based lube, and I went up there.
Wow, did she watch you, or she was just like, this is for you, go do that?
She didn't watch me, but she heard me, and she was turned on by what she heard. And that after I came down, we spent the next 3 or 4 hours telling each other dirty jokes and laughing and having a great time. It was a great day overall,
Sounds fun.
Yeah. And she ended up telling her daughter about it and stuff, and then her daughter won't talk to me ever again, and she won't either. It was a weird thing that happened, but I don't regret it. It was fun.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. I see you've been doing the mystery box virtually.
We did just one live stream so far in April. Of course, that was scheduled to be on stage in front of a live audience originally. So that was our first show that we did in quarantine. And we decided to do it through YouTube since that's, we have 96,000 subscribers on YouTube. Mm-hmm. We wanted to make it as accessible as possible, for a global audience, because we haven't really, we have all of our videos on YouTube, but a lot of folks have never come to a live show who just know us from YouTube. So we decided to go that platform and then to offer it free of charge, which was a risky decision because the show is my full-time job, and without ticket sales, I don't get paid. Mm-hmm. So, but it just kind of felt like the right thing to do to, give people accessibility, because everybody's losing, not everybody, but a lot of people have lost their jobs or reduced incomes, and we just thought, how fun would that be just to, here's some free sex stories in your living room.
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but here's some free sex stories in your living room. Do we all feel a little closer to each other? Is there hope for humanity? It just sort of felt like the right thing to do. So we did that, and we were really surprised that we got a lot of very generous donations through that, which was awesome. And we had so much fun. There were a lot of technical learning curves, to be honest, because we'd never done a live stream before. And originally, we were still allowed to gather. I think 10 people were allowed to gather at a time when we decided to do a live stream. But by the time the week of the show came around, we were no longer allowed to do that. So originally the show was going to take place in our home. All the storytellers were local and had agreed to come over. But like a week prior to the show, it was the governor decided, like, we had to self-quarantine, self-isolate. So we had to quickly figure out how to, what software to purchase so that we could still live stream on YouTube, but through Zoom from everyone's house, individual homes. It was a lot, but it was actually really cool to be forced into doing something new, because we liked it so much that we decided, well, let's do it every month now, whereas our stage shows are every other month. In a way, it sort of streamlines the process. There's a lot more to do, but then there was a lot less to do as well. a lot more new things to do, but the things that would happen during a live stage show weren't happening, so it freed up extra time and space and mental energy. So yeah, we're gonna see how it goes, and then so we have another one coming up on May 16th, and we have 4 storytellers again this time, and it's a really good cast. It's really really fun.
But there's no greater feeling than being up there on stage and getting that, that rush from the audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I definitely miss that energy exchange that goes on with a live audience, but something I noticed, and when we're doing it live on YouTube, we have the chat open as well, so anybody who's watching can engage with us live, like as it's happening, and that was really a rush too. Just being able to engage with people, and we had our production assistant Nicole, zooming in as well, and she was monitoring the chat and responding to people. And then during our intermission, I was able to talk directly to people, and that's not something that we get to do at a stage show. Like, if you're lucky, you get to talk to the audience after the show if they've come to the after party or something like that, but they don't get to chime in the middle of a story, they don't get to engage in real time. And so I actually really like that aspect of it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just worried about the future of events. I love my Comic Cons and my horror cons, and I have so much I want to do in show business. I don't want everything I do to be online,
Yeah. Do you know what, though? I mean, I don't think it's going to be this way forever, right? Like I know we're thinking now maybe a year out from now, no one really knows. But what I have heard is that, if, like, worst case scenario, we're in quarantine for a year. Because there will be a vaccine. We will figure this out. So it's not going to be forever. And I think the things that we're learning now are just going to benefit us, personally speaking, are going to benefit us when we are able to have live shows again. Like, for us, as I mentioned, we do a stage show every other month, and we're going to continue that model when we're able to gather again. But on the off months, now that we know how to live stream, we thought, well, maybe we still do our every other month, and then in the months in between, we do a live stream on YouTube for free, and all of our storytellers are global. We're working with a comedian in London right now who wants to be on the show. We have people in Argentina who are interested, things like that. And we would have never thought of that if lockdown hadn't happened. And so that's just going to benefit us and be something cool in the future for us when we are able to open up again. And we're also, we've had a podcast in our back pockets for like years and years and years, but I'm sure it's a full-time job to put together a podcast. And so we've had more, I don't want to say we've had more time. We have the same amount of time we've always had. We've just had more focus. Since we're not allowed to leave or go anywhere, do any social, parties or anything like that.
Yeah.
We've been utilizing our time to focus more on how can we do a podcast in an efficient manner. So that's something that we're benefiting from, these, just digital things that are happening that we can incorporate into our lives when things, I don't want to say go back to normal. It won't be normal, but when things open back up again. And we resumed stage shows, I'll say that. So I have a feeling like Comic-Cons and, you know, all the cons and all the things, I'm hoping that people will take the good things that they learned with all of the technology that's happening right now and just apply it to in-person live things once it happens again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, to me, just, you know, you do a couple of cons have been virtual, that they've done in the last month or so. And to me, it's antisocial. You know, you only get like 2 minutes to talk to this one person and stuff. You know, and I don't know how it works. I don't know if it's like, you know, you select what autograph you want and then you pay for it and then they send it to you. I don't know if that's how it works. I imagine it's how, but it's just, to me, it's just antisocial. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any recent stories from the polyamorous front?
That's interesting. I can't remember what we talked about regarding that last time. But I don't identify as polyamorous, even though I have 2 partners. Did we talk about this?
Yeah, we kind of did. You mentioned that you don't identify yourself as one, you know. But yeah, I was curious though if you had any recent stories from that, you know, like before quarantine started.
Right. Well, I won't get too far into it, but I actually ended up breaking. So I am married, and I also had a boyfriend, and I ended up breaking up with the boyfriend in January, and we didn't speak for like 3 months at all. And then quarantine happened, and he reached out to me, and I actually responded because I was ready to. And we had just been talking and sort of trying to not work things out, but just, you know, heal from the breakup, so to speak. And then we just slowly started seeing each other again, virtually. Yeah, so kind of virtually seeing each other, and then worked up to, okay, we've been in isolation for 2 weeks. You know, I have been and he has been, and so is it safe to be next to each other? What if we see each other at the grocery store, but we're 6 feet away? Those kind of things have been happening. But I have, you know, since I work in the sex positive community, I know that a lot of my peers are initiating like Zoom orgies.
Nice.
Finding ways to creatively stay in touch with their other partners. Lots of people who do identify as polyamorous, or who are single but are dating multiple people, or just one person, or trying to date at all. Doing like speed dating online, or sending each other, you know, doing all the sexting, or sending creative care packages and things like that are going on. But I've been fortunate enough, you know, I'm in lockdown with my husband, and I, you know, get to see my other, I wouldn't say he's my boyfriend again yet, but, you know, things are fine with me. I know some other folks are kind of having a hard time.
Yeah. Do you and your husband get to have sex often while you two are in lockdown?
Well, we're in lockdown with my 15-year-old son, so you know, I wouldn't say often, no.
Yeah.
But I bet that's what lots of people are doing, right?
I don't know. I talked to a professional dominatrix a little while ago, who she's got a partner that she's in lockdown with, and they have sex several times a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends what's going on in everybody's lives, too, because some people just aren't working right now. I'm still, my husband is still working. He's an animator and a video person and does voiceover work. And I I essentially lost my job, meaning like I can't make a show that people buy tickets to in person, but I'm still working. In fact, my workload has doubled because we're doing a show every month now instead of every other month. So I'm actually working more now than I was. So things are still going on, and my kid is doing school from his bedroom, and there's a lot going on. But I imagine if I was like, well, I don't have a job, what should we do right now? There'd be a lot more sex going on, I'm sure.
Yeah. Do you ever get creepy messages from guys who see the shows?
Oh, all the time, every day.
Every day.
Every day. I don't know if I would call them creepy, just because I don't want to put judgment on anyone, but
Yeah.
all the time. I get Facebook messages, I get messages on Instagram, I get YouTube comments. I actually joke about this a lot. People will just there are two types that I usually get. Two types of messages I usually get. One is the message where it just says hi or like hello.
Yeah.
Like waiting for me to initiate conversation. And I always think like, well, do you want something? Like, I don't respond because, like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say hi to you. I'm just like sitting around waiting to have conversation with you. So sorry to sound like an asshole, but like, if you want to initiate a conversation with me, like, is that the best you've got? So that's one type of message I get. And the second type of message I get is the exact opposite of that, where they'll just be like, they'll just start right in with like, oh, hey, baby, I think you're so sexy and beautiful and so hot that you're open about sex. And do you want to fuck? Call me. It's just like, there's no middle ground. And I usually respond to, I respond to like 1% of them. And it's only if I can throw in there, like, if I think that they're avidly watching the show or the YouTube channel, that I'll like thank them for watching and let them know when the next show is or something like that, like on a very professional level. But yeah, I get it all the time.
Yeah. Oh God, I got a bad one last week. This guy, he was, I don't know, selling insurance or something. He was on Instagram. He's like, sending me like hello or something in the messaging, and like I'm like blocking him, right? And then he called, and then what did he do? Oh yeah, he gave me like an Instagram call on my phone, and I hung up on it, and then I said to him on Instagram, why the fuck are you calling me? And he's like, to get your attention. And I just block, It's creepy. It's really creepy. Do you ever get dick pics from guys?
Not from strangers, no. Wait, that's a very open-ended question. You mean like from strangers, people who have watched the show?
From the creepy guys, yeah.
No, I haven't. Which is good. Wait, I'm trying to think if that's true. Actually, I did get one once on Instagram. It's interesting. It almost kind of depends on where they're reaching out from. I feel like if it's on Instagram, they feel like they know me.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know, because on Instagram, you don't have to, they can just, wait, how does that work? You can follow someone on Instagram. So somebody could follow me on Instagram, and then they could message me, right?
Right.
Do I have to, right. So I don't have to approve them following me is the thing. But on Facebook, you have to accept a friend request, right?
Yes.
So it almost feels like on Instagram that they get more like they feel more familiar, like they think it's okay. Yeah, I just did once, like it was quite a while ago, and I didn't respond to it, and then they were like, "Oh, sorry, was that too much? I just thought that, we could get together or whatever." And I was like, "Why would you think that?" Why would you think that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny now. I used to get, because I'm used to it, but I used to get kind of offended that that people were missing the point, and I was like, "Oh, so the only value my show has to you is that there's sex. Like, you don't think that it's good, or you don't think that there's anything to be learned from this, or that, it's entertaining or anything like that. You just think I'm easy. Like, that's all you're picking up from this." And I used to be very hurt and offended by that. But,
Yeah.
they don't know me, and, I guess that creates the distance, is they don't know me.
Yeah. Well, you can always forward the dick pics to me because I love looking at them.
So I can forward unsolicited. I'll send you unsolicited dick pics.
Yes, love them. Couple of months ago, I got this one. Oh my God, it was a big black dick, and it was pretty. The collar was just nice and delicate, and the head was just a mushroom of wonder.
A mushroom of wonder?
Yeah.
Wait, how did you get, was this a solicited picture someone sent to you? You just happened upon it?
No, a friend of mine sent it to me. She got it, and so she forwarded it to me.
Gotcha. Does this happen with all of your friends? Do you have an agreement? Like, they'll just send you the dick pics they receive?
Yeah, I just say, if you want to forward them to me, go ahead.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder if people knew when they were sending pictures of their dicks to people, if this was like, do people think I don't have a dick? I've never sent a dick pic. I don't know how this works. Like, if you send one to someone, does it cross your mind that they're going to send it to their friends?
You know what? I don't think so, but at the same time, I think most people who send dick pics are kind of narcissistic, so I don't think that they care, really, if anyone sees them. Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
That's just my theory, at least. I did get to send a solicited picture of my dick to my friend the other night, and she was like, "Oh, very nice, Tommy. Very nice." I was like,
"Yeah." Well, she might be sending it to her friends right now.
I told her, I said, share it on Instagram. I don't care.
You know what? I kind of feel that way too, because this isn't quite the same thing, but it feels related. That I do modeling, and I'll do nude modeling, and I've done nude modeling. It's like fine art photography,
Mm-hmm.
And it's a part of my brand and my job. So I feel like, well, so what if pictures of me are on the internet? They are anyway. I mean, it's a different vibe if I I sent like kitty pictures to people and things like that. And I guess my thought is, maybe I can compare that to sending a dick pic to someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
My thought is, well, if that does get sent to your friend or put on the internet somewhere, so what? Are people going to, oh no, what's going to happen when people acknowledge that I have tits? Oh no. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that says about it. And if it sends a message to people that, what does that send? The message is what? I'm a sexual being? Great. Like, so are most people. I just, what's the big deal?
Yeah. It depends on the person, really. Everything is subjective. But, I love those pics you post where you got the shirts with the hard nipples.
Yeah. My very good friend of mine, Marina Thompson, was a photographer her that. She's a professional boudoir and BDSM photographer. She does really amazing work.
Yeah. Oh, they're wonderful. I mean, I take, if I wake up, and I go on Facebook and I see that, it's perfect, because I gotta do my morning, rub out.
See, she's helping provide inspiration. She's like a healthcare worker.
Exactly. I'm friends with this 80s cult movie actress, Deborah Lamb, and she used to post pictures of her naked tits with a shadow over it, so it wouldn't be flagged as inappropriate on Facebook. And oh my God, all of us guys, we just loved it. Oh my God. And just, I don't know, ever in the last year or two, Deborah has become very soft, very woke almost. And I remember a month after I did that masturbation episode with Amber Leitz, I did one with her. And then, like, the last time she was on, she didn't even want to talk about sex. She's just gotten really soft, and she's a very promiscuous person, It's weird.
Did she speak to that? Like, did she say anything about it?
I don't know, but you know what, though? I think in hindsight, when we did that masturbation episode, she may have been under the influence.
Oh.
I'm guessing. There's a few people I've talked to where they've been under the influence, and we've gone into that realm of inappropriateness, and then when I talk to them the next time, they're just a completely different person.
Gotcha.
It's sad, too. But Twitter, though, is got a lot of porn on it. You could post anything on there or Instagram, and it's not going to get flagged.
Oh, I don't do Twitter. My show does Twitter, but it's not me running it, so I don't really know how it works.
Yeah, I talked to a brand new porn star from Twitter on Sunday, and she was great. Her name's Beth McKenna. She used to be a judge and a lawyer, and she got into porn later in life in her 50s, and she's a knockout. And she's a very sweet lady. She's from the South, She's just really good to talk to. We did a really good one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm doing all these interviews with porn stars and dominatrixes and stuff for International Masturbation Month.
I should get their information from you, their contact information, to see if they have a story to share with us.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's see. Beth, I mean, she's in Mississippi, and the dominatrix I talked to today, she's in Philly, But yeah, I mean, if they want to do something maybe virtual with you, that would be great.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean. You may as well just... I'm making an assumption that everything's going to be virtual for quite a while, so take advantage of it while we can, I guess.
Yeah. Last year, I remember I posted this picture of Nina Hartley with her tits showing, and I had a few less Instagram followers after that, so I just took it down. Yeah.
That's interesting that you wouldn't get more followers.
Well, I don't really think that people can actually see the picture unless they're following them and they go to their profile first.
So wait, it's only May 5th. Does that mean you're going to do 25? Are you going to do, how often do you do an interview? Are you finding all these sex people for the entire month of May?
For most of May, I don't think I'm going to do one, every day, every other day. It's just, it varies with me, I mean, up here in the countryside, I do a lot of podcasting because there's nothing to do up here, So, so Sunday I had Beth. Today I had Parker, the dominatrix. I'm having a sex educator on tomorrow who helps disabled people have a good sex life. And I want to talk to her about masturbation as well. And then I also have a couple celebrity friends who want to talk about it too.
That's awesome. So you're set for the month.
Set for the month for the most part, yeah. And I'll tell you.
That's cool. Sorry to interrupt you. Who's the sex? You said a sex educator who helps disabled folks.
Yeah, her name is Dr. Linda Mona.
Linda Mona. I feel like I've heard of her before. Is she local to you?
She's in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard of her.
Yeah, she does advocacy for disabled people and teaches them how to have a good sex life and stuff. I thought that would be a very interesting conversation to have. So I reached out to her, and she's a very interesting looking woman. Like, she almost looks like a transgender, but I don't think she is. She's got a very interesting looking face.
Well, she sounds awesome. Her name's, what's her name?
Dr. Linda Mona. And
Linda Mona.
She's on Twitter. She doesn't have a whole lot of followers, which I thought was strange. But I mean, I listened to her in some podcasts. There's this one podcast I listened to. It's a sex one. I forget the name of it. I have to go through it. But I heard her on there, and I was like, I got to have her on. I got to reach out to her, and I feel very lucky that I'm going to talk to her.
Yeah, she sounds really cool.
Yeah. About a week before quarantine started, a friend of mine had to have one of her ovaries removed, and she called me after it happened, and she was just telling me how much pain she was in, and stuff. She had like a it was like a stop of blood flow or something. And I made her laugh out loud. Those lollipops you used to get at the carnival? They're like the candy part is like swirled on a stick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I told her, I said, I'm sure that's what her fallopian tubes look like. She cracked up. I felt.
Were they rainbow colored too?
Yeah. I made her crack up, and I felt really good that I did that,
Yeah.
What would you say, Reba, is your best personality trait?
Well, I'm really empathetic.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, I like to listen to people and help them know that they feel special and also understood. So I think that's my best. I also feel like I'm quick-witted and funny. Mm-hmm. Not to toot my own horn, but I mean, not just in regular conversation here, but I do like to be quick-witted and funny, especially in storytelling. And I think that because of that helps elicit laughter. And as you just expressed, it made you feel good to make your friend laugh. And I think laughter is a gift that we give ourselves and each other. And so I like that about myself too.
Yes, I totally agree. You are very funny when you tell stories. And
thank you.
Yeah, I think my sense of empathy too. A lot of people I interview tell me I'm such a good listener and I'm genuinely interested in them, And I think the fact that I have no filter is another one.
Yeah, you know what? I think that I agree with you on. There's something to be said for that. I don't know if I would say I don't have any filter. I do have a filter, because of empathy. I can tell if something is appropriate or going to make someone feel uncomfortable or not. And sometimes I want to make someone feel uncomfortable, right? But for the most part, I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. But I think not being afraid to say what's on your mind, that's also part of not having a filter, right? And that's really refreshing. So I get that from you too. Like, that's really refreshing that you're just like, well, here's what I'm thinking, and I want to know the answer to this. So you ask the question that maybe other people wouldn't ask because they think it's inappropriate, or they're afraid to ask it, or they're afraid of what the response will be. But I think that there's power in, I think there's strength in that. Strength and vulnerability, so to speak.
Yeah, like, I mean, I have that too, where, like, there's several of these episodes this month I'm not going to share on Facebook because I don't want people unfriending me and getting offended and stuff, so I share them on Twitter instead, or I say, go subscribe to my YouTube channel and you can check them out, I mean, I have that part of filter, and I do have that sense of, inappropriateness has its time and its place, but you give me a platform like this where I can be myself, and then I can just go crazy,
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah, it's good.
yeah. I mean, be myself, but also be my on-air persona of Tommy Throwback Kovac. This character I created when I first started this podcast. I wrote out a whole biography of him and stuff, and there's like little bits and pieces of my own life in there, but a lot of stuff that's made up too for humor
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, and I want to I want to play this character in my own horror hosting, TV show, and do a fanboy movie of the character and stuff, taking my cue from horror and sci-fi movies and gratuitous tits and ass sex.
Mm-hmm. The perfect combination.
Yeah, exactly. So when...
Well, now's the time. I mean, I know you're doing a lot of interviews and things like that. Has your life changed significantly since quarantine, or like, do you have more time to work on these projects?
I've been procrastinating writing scripts because every time I want to write one script and I want to write another, I can't decide which one I want to do. I'm eventually going to do one once I get my mind out of the gutter for that. But yeah, I'm constantly podcasting now and stuff. I've gotten a lot of great compliments from guests telling me that, or thanking me, I should say, thanking me that I got to distract them for a little while during this whole mess, and
Yeah.
and interviewing them and stuff. I've had a couple people turn me down just because their mind is not in the right place during all this, and they want to wait until things are calmed down and stuff. But yeah, I'm just constantly podcasting and doing research and that stuff, and drinking a lot of coffee too. And I need to slow down.
I can relate to that one for sure. I have noticed my coffee intake has gone up, which is fine. It's fine. I'd rather my coffee intake go up than my wine intake go up, which is what I was like, oh no. I'm in quarantine with wine. I'm going to drink it all. But I've been good.
Yeah. And then my birthday is next month. Going to be 37.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how do you feel about that? My birthday was this month in lockdown.
Mm-hmm. I've been going through a bit of a midlife crisis since last year, because it took me until I was 31, 32 to realize what I wanted to do, and now I'm just, working my ass off, trying to get to where I want to be, and I'm just like hoping that, I don't have to struggle when I'm 50,
Mm-hmm.
I'm remaining positive and everything, but just, I remember a couple of years ago, I had a nightmare that I was 50 years old and completely broke. And I don't ever want that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's a lot of people's fears. I have that thought all the time. I mean, I've been a working artist. Well, I've been an artist my whole life and a working artist for most of my adult life, and that's a constant fear. Not that artists are the only people who struggle financially, but we're one of the industries that isn't regarded, unless you make it in Hollywood, quote, make it, or artists aren't necessarily regarded as financially valuable, which is ridiculous to me. But yeah, that's a fear a lot of us have all the time. I get it. But I also think that, for me anyway, I like to think about other cultures, like take yourself outside of the U.S. for a minute and look at all these other cultures who regard aging as something they look forward to and can't wait for, and they don't, what am I trying to say? They don't disregard older people, or I don't even want to say older, like what, old is subjective, but people who really look up to the older people, I guess, and there's lots of value in that. And I think since I just turned 41, and last year when I turned 40, it was the best. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I love just having been able to change my thoughts around that, because growing up, I remember my mom and my aunts and uncles having their 40th birthday parties, and they were all the over the hill. I don't even know if that's still a thing, but with the tombstone decorations and black plates, because you're 40, you're on your way, you've got one foot in the grave. Which even as a kid, I was like, what? That's fucked. What? I was just so confused. So I was really happy that when I turned 40, I was like, oh, 40 is actually fucking awesome. I have a lot of agency. I run my own business. My family's amazing. My kid is great. I had a Halloween costume-themed party in April, and all my friends showed up in creepy Halloween costumes in April.
Yeah.
I have amazing friends. Portland is great. The city I live in. Everything's fucking awesome when I'm 40. Why would I be sad that I'm 40? You know what I mean? Just looking at the facts. What are the facts? And for you, I know I don't know you really well at all, but I would be like, yeah, I'm 37. I have a million of these interviews under my belt with this podcast, and look at all these crazy, amazing people that I've talked to and the things that I'm doing, and not look at well, I was supposed to do this, because there is no supposed to. What you're doing is what you're supposed to. Yeah, I'm very passionate about this topic. I just went on a tangent.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, I've done 804 as of today with you, and I go by what Logan Paul said. He said, be unique, be different, be a maverick, and that's what I've done. And I'm gonna keep going for as long as I can, and I mean, last year I got offered a movie role by a producer director guy that I interviewed. Went out to L.A. For a week, and I got to see him, and he offered me a movie role. Hopefully after quarantine it'll finally be financed. He said he was having some trouble getting it financed, but I'd love to do that, because I want to be in movies and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and stuff. But yeah, next month, 37. That's the same number that Veronica sucked dick in Clerks. Oh, last year.
At least there's that.
Yeah. Oh, last year on my birthday, I did a podcast with a friend of mine, one of those friends who doesn't have no filter either, who's really dark and stuff. And I spent a half an hour talking to her, telling her, sex and masturbation stories, and she's just laughing the entire time, And then I ended everything by having an orgasm on the air, and she even laughed harder at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a momentous birthday podcast, it sounds like.
Yeah. She was like, I'm happy I did that for you on your birthday. If I send you that episode, would you listen to it? Because it's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. I'll listen to that.
Awesome. So do you have any Oh, yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, you guys have another virtual mystery box show coming up, right?
On the 16th.
On the 16th. So instead of doing it once a month, you're doing it every couple of weeks. Then
No, it is once a month. So yeah, our last one was April 18th. So this one's May 16th, and then we'll do June 14th, etc.
Nice, nice. Well, I hope these virtual shows are going to continue being good for you. You know, even after quarantine ends, I hope you guys will be back in the theater. And I love talking to you, Reba. You are just so positive and so lovely.
Oh, thank you, Tommy. I like talking to you too. So thank you for the invitation to come back.
Absolutely, anytime. And stay safe, have amazing orgasms, and happy Cinco de Mayo.
Same to you. Happy Masturbation Month.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Reba Sparrow. Ain't she a sweetheart? Ah, she's just wonderful. Just wonderful. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as